del camino. Soy vos el corredor y yo te dije de 100. Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a long place.
Santana. That creep can roll, man.
One of the best movies to use bowling as a plot point was The Big Lebowski. Today, we're going to follow village resident Anthony Liberatore to Forest Lanes and learn how the sport of bowling affects his life. Did you know that bowling is a sport that's been around since the 1840s? And that there were over 400 bowling alleys in New York City alone in 1850? As far as I'm concerned, bowling is a sport ingrained in America's DNA. So here we are at the bowling alley. What are you looking forward to today?
Well, looking forward to starting off the second half of this year's bowling. We're at the midway point, and so to help out my team, I'm going to practice 3 games. We start bowling at 1, and I have enough time to get 3 games in. We finished the season in 2nd place, and we're hoping that we can finish in 1st place the second half.
Wow, it's a nice bowling alley. You got a lot of lanes.
You know who has a nice bowling alley? The Marines.
Really?
Devil Dog Lanes, Camp Pendleton. They have 40 lanes just like this. And you get better service because all the employees are Marines.
Right. Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to bowl 3 games for a senior?
If you're in the league, $4.
$4 for 3 games?
Well, no, in the league it's $13, but here to practice it's $4 for 2 games. So it's $2 a game. This is a league sheet. It lists all the teams by number and name, and it lists the bowlers in each team. And I would say 75 to 85% of these are from Laguna Woods.
Woo! You got film now, you got a strike.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a nice way to do the game.
Yeah. People from the woods are coming in now and getting their league sheets, which will tell them what lanes they're bowling on. We're here on 13 and 14 today. I have 4 members. I'm one of 4 people on our team, and so we'll start bowling at 1 o'clock. We'll have 10 minutes of warm-up before that, and that's what we're waiting for right now. You'll see them all filling in here shortly, and most of them are from the woods.
And how competitive are these bowling leagues?
There's like every bowling league, there is a segment of our bowlers that take this very seriously, and we do have awards at the end of the season. And there are other bowlers who are just here for company and to be around other people. So,
Where are you in the spectrum?
well, I like to win. I like to be up there and compete. That's why I go to the gym 3 times a week so I can keep bowling using a 16-pound ball. A lot of people go down to 12-pound balls, but I like the pinfall you get from the 16-pounder. Well, number 1 goal, since this is a handicap league, is to make if you can make your average, you help your team. So I want to at least bowl my average. Now my average is 166.
I go long I win twice as many points.
I hate to say it, but me.
The best bowler.
Well, I got the best average for now. But Donna is, she's a good bowler.
They're counting on you to at least get your average today.
Yes, yes. And we're playing, what, Team 5, we're playing Team 10. Yeah, we're playing Their good bowler is John Romano. He's bowling against me. He's got a 180 some average. So this is a good team we're bowling against.
How'd you do?
Well, we lost. We lost because they bowl really great, you know. And we have to bowl our average. If we bowl our average, even though this team is better than us average-wise, we can beat them.
When was the last time you bowled over 200?
Oh, at the beginning of this fall. It's been a long time since I had this good of a game.
We're bringing you some good luck.
You are.
You put your ball away? All right, so how'd that feel?
Oh, that's great. It's a good way. Your last game is your good game. Makes you want to come back.
How many strikes did you get in that game?
6. 6 strikes. And then I think I had 4 spares. 1 open. I only had 1 open. That's the key.
Going bowling with Anthony was really fun. The whole bowling experience seems like a great way to have a good time with other villagers. And unlike the characters in The Big Lebowski, everyone seems to get along with each other with no drama. For the rest of the show, we're going to learn more about Anthony's wonderful philosophy and how he's living his life here in the village. We're at the 19 now. Talk about being a priest. How did that shape your life?
Well, it made a profound difference in my life because I grew up in the city where we had tons of kids, no playgrounds, and very territorial. And when I went away to the seminary, it was because I had this thing in my mind of what's it all about, and whether I wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher. I couldn't go on that path until I answered the question. I was more interested in the question of what's it all about. And so I went into the seminary. My uncle had been in a seminary and he was a missionary in Africa, and he used to send back these slides of himself in the Serengeti plains, and there were no buildings, there were nothing there, and he seemed to be happy. And so I wanted to pursue that, you know. And so I spent 11 years in the seminary pursuing what's it all about. Why death? And if death, then why life? And I spent 11 years in the seminary. I was 16 when I went in. I was 27 when I was ordained. And then I was put in a parish in Anderson, Indiana. And that's my career in the priesthood. And about a year into that, I decided that the church didn't need me. And so I left. And I went to pursue the only other thing I was any good at, and it was psychology. So I went back to a little town in Osawatomie, Kansas, where I got my residency in psychology, and that's where I met my wife. We married. We lived in Prairie Village, Kansas for a couple of years. Then I bought a house in Hickman Mills, which is on the Missouri side. And then when our 4th baby came along, we decided, my wife didn't like me working at nights with insurance, so we moved back to Philadelphia, and my family got me a position as a peer superintendent on the Philadelphia waterfront. And my rest of my career was in corporate America in in the maritime business.
So you spent 12 years in the seminary and as a priest.
Yes.
And how did that change your life as far as your view of life? What did you learn, and how did that affect you as you moved forward after leaving the priesthood?
Well, as a boy in West Philadelphia, I was very, I don't know what the right word is, parochial. I lived on my block, and the people on my block were my friends. They were my home. And I was suspicious about anybody who was not from my block. In the seminary, I went through a big transformation. I found out that I liked people, and the people were fun to be around. And the more I got into studying philosophy, theology, psychology, I found out that not to be afraid of people, that if I could learn to reach out and accept people, that I as a person would be better off. And I believe that's the way that we are created, or if you will, engineered, that we're social, and to the extent that we can come out and accept others, love others, to that extent we grow and we flourish in ourselves. And so that's how the seminary changed me. It made me took me from somebody who was into myself, into my little clique, into my neighborhood, into someone looking out at the world, looking for the next friend, looking for great views, and looking for a life where I could continue trying to understand life. And the seminary made me who I am today.
That's a great philosophy. And here you are. How old are you now, Anthony?
76.
And you seem so relaxed and at ease and at peace. And I'm sure your life isn't perfect, but like, how has it gotten better since you moved to Laguna Woods Village?
Since I moved to Laguna Woods Village, it's reduced the anxiety in my life. I'm not worried about a mortgage payment. I don't have any meetings to go to for management and all, so I can actually sit back, get up in the morning, and relax and enjoy my life. You know, you don't know how much living you have in you, and now, for the first time, I can enjoy living. I can enjoy my wife. I can come up and look here at people playing golf, sit back, relax, and actually do what I like to do, is read and meditate.
And how does that help you to meditate? You do meditate every day?
Yes, meditation frees you. We get things get attached to us during the day. We're worried about bills. We're worried about something this. We're worried about that, and it impacts the way you relate to other people, and it impacts you the way you think. So if you can take a few minutes every day to meditate on yourself, who you are, and what your life is, and how lucky you are, all that stuff that has attached itself, you just sort of melts away. And you can focus then on living and see how enjoyable it is to be alive.
Is it hard to meditate?
Not for me, because one of the things in the seminary, I started at 16, we had older priests who had lived in China, and they started us young in meditation. So I don't know how it is for older people, but still, in my way, it's life-saving. It's renewal. It's refreshing, because it allows you to escape from all the stuff that you have taken on. Dates, times, got to be here, you got to do that. You get away from all that and think about yourself, your life, your family. And it's, to me, it's very renewing.
So does it keep you kind of in a nice relaxed state throughout the day?
It does. I'm kind of, I don't know, kind of loosey-goosey, I guess, because when things come my way, I don't let them get too deep into me. I examine them, listen to them, and I put them in their place. I don't let anything deter me or changed my way of thinking, because life for me now is very uncomplicated, it's very simple, and very enjoyable. And if you let these little things, personality things, attach themselves, I think it makes you uptight and all that. And I don't have any of that going on inside me.
Okay, so Anthony, we got 18,000 people here in the village, and you've had a lot of experience dealing with people as a priest, and kind of they bare their soul to you, right?
Yeah. The people, well, that's what we were supposed to be. We were supposed to be for the people. So we were trained for that. And the church at the time was very serious about that. So they made us not only do philosophy and theology, but they actually made us get involved in psychology so that we could understand what people were going through, identify what they were going through, because some of the stuff people go through is not really religious. And so we were sensitive for that. We were trained to be for people.
And what was the biggest thing you learned about people, since you've got kind of an inside scoop into people's souls?
Well, people in themselves, I believe people are worthwhile. They're lovable. But some people have been damaged. And what I learned in psychology, if that damage or that trauma happened before they develop memory, it may be almost impossible to help them get out of it. But the rest of us, we're worthwhile, lovable beings. And to the extent that we can understand that about ourselves, then other people appeal to us. We're not afraid of them. We'll go out, we'll reach out and accept them. And we, as a result of being able to do that, we ourselves grow.
So, as far as recommendations for villagers who are watching this show, what advice would you give people, since you're aging up with them, if they want to have more peace or more happiness or feel better?
Well, people, I would say, first of all, it took me, believe it or not, it took me 2 years after I moved here to stop getting up at 5 in the morning. I mean, it was just in me. And it might take you some time to really let it go, really relax, and then think about yourself. Think about what you like. For instance, out behind my manor, we have the Serpentine Walk. It's an amazing place. The trees that people have planted over the last 50 years, and that walk is just amazing. And if you can let some of the stuff go that's been on your mind all these years and enjoy the Serpentine Walk, enjoy this beautiful scenery here at the golf course, I think you become back to being yourself and enjoying yourself. And you have plenty of things here, golf and over 200 clubs, to allow you to enjoy your life.
You care about people, you love people, you feel good about people, you like helping people. You know a lot of people. What advice, since you know, how long have you lived here, Anthony?
I've lived here for 5 years now.
5 years. So you know the community. If people are struggling, what would you say they ought to do if they're feeling like they're struggling as they're aging up?
I think people here who are struggling, if they feel lonely or depressed, that it's because they have to learn to come out. We're all here. We're all living living out our lives here. And we have that in common, if nothing else. And we can, by coming out and getting to know your neighbors, it's enjoyable. But if you stay locked up in yourself and don't share yourself with other people, then you won't get to know and enjoy other people. So it's important for us, I think, since we are social animals, we're social by our engineering or whatever, however you want to express it, and to the extent that we can come out to meet other people, embrace other people and their differences, because if we were all the same, we'd be pretty boring. We're not all the same, and that's one thing we should try to embrace. But how to get people to do that, you can't. People have to want to know themselves, understand themselves as lovable, worthwhile individuals. And I think to the extent they can do that, then they'll reach out. And this is a marvelous opportunity in the last days of our living. We don't have any, shouldn't have any external problems and to hold us back from coming out and being social. And in being social, that's our nature. It's the way we're designed. I think you'll find some happiness there, some inner peace, knowing that you know other people, they know you, and you get this inner peace type of feeling inside you where you are composed, you're not upset, and it's hard to explain, but you get that joy that comes with knowing that you are a lovable, acceptable person, and you know other people who are the same.
I'm thinking there's no better place on planet Earth to retire than Laguna Woods, with the great weather, the golf course, the beach, you name it, it's all within 20 minutes of us. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's fantastic. From the Interstate 5 to the ocean, we're the last biggest development here. The weather is perfect. There's no snow shoveling or anything, and so there's everything here to make you feel at home and to make you relax and enjoy your life like never before.
All right, so Anthony, we've had a lot of talks, and you've never mentioned the word God in any conversation we ever had, even though you were a priest. Talk about that.
Well, I don't like to mention God because I don't like to get people upset. And don't forget, for me, I started when I was 16 years old, studying history, philosophy, theology, psychology, and I was ordained when I was 27. That's 11 years. So it's hard for me to rationalize talking to people about concepts that I prayed over and studied for 11 years. However, if you want to get to the notion of God, it's about my 7th year in the seminary. I came to the realization or understanding of why there is religion and why there is God. And for me, the question is, why death? Why death? And if death, why life? And I discovered that from not only being a Catholic theologian, but from reading The Existentialist. They estimate in the Second World War there were 55 million people slaughtered during that war. And it drove people and it created existentialism. So it's, in my belief in God is that there is something outside of us. And we who believe in God believe that this something is good. It's nourishing. And also we believe that God is not a judge who's anxious to send people to hell. God, according to the Old Testament scriptures, is a loving God. And the theme, I believe, of the Old Testament is that no matter how unfaithful the Israelites were, whenever they turned to God, He never told them no. So there's the idea of forgiveness. I might not be able to forgive you, you may not be able to forgive me, but God can forgive both of us. And that's what I take away. That's why I don't like to preach. And your sermon, if you're a priest, should be an explanation of your life. I don't have to, in the sermon, I don't have to go up and tell people, hit the second collection hard or you're going to go to hell. No, I believe you follow Matthew, where these people started following this guy, Jesus, around. And then he went up and gave a sermon. I believe Matthew is constructed on 3 or 4 sermons. And the way the Matthew book is constructed is that when Jesus went up to the mountain to give a sermon, it wasn't saying you should be doing this or you should be doing that and don't do this. His sermon was an explanation of his lifestyle, why he was living the way he lived. He wasn't collecting money. He was just doing things benevolently. And he said he was doing them because that was the message of his Father. So I took that to heart, and that still means a lot to me. Your your life is your sermon. And if you live a good life, you know, that will be your sermon, your preaching, you know, and I really believe in that. So I don't need labels. I don't need any kind of labels, Protestant, Catholic, anything like that. I don't need liberal, conservative. I just follow that belief in me that my lifestyle is my sermon. That's I don't have to write anything down. And I believe to the extent that people can understand that they're worthwhile, according to the Judeo-Christian tradition, that God created mankind, not white people, brown people, but mankind in his image and likeness. For some people that's hard to deal with, but that's was given to us by the old ones in the scriptures, and that kind of stuff I take to heart. And I believe to get to a position or feeling like I am, you have to, you know, see your own self-worthwhileness. And to the extent that you can believe that about yourself, then people around you are no longer threatening. As a matter of fact, you'll be driven out to meet people, to learn about it, to hear their stories, to love them, to accept them. And what a better place to do it than here in Laguna Woods, where there's no distractions. The only distractions you have here are the ones that you emanate for yourself. And so I believe that, and you know, people, we get so uptight. We have bills to pay, we have cars, we have all this stuff that's like buzzing around us. But the bottom line is, you know, none of us gets out of this alive. And so we have a perfect opportunity here in Laguna Woods to just relax and enjoy each other and enjoy this great atmosphere that we have here.
Hey, you couldn't have said that any better.
Thank you.
I'm interviewing you because you thriving and you walk the talk without really talking the talk.
Well, that's, you know, that to me is really important, because we have a lot of talking. And if you can judge a person if you feel like judging, but look at a person, how they live. But their life will tell you what they believe and what they don't believe. And this here in Laguna Woods is a great opportunity to enjoy yourself and enjoy other people in the time you have here with no distractions at all. And if you do that, then when you pass away, that's what you'll be known as, someone whose life was their sermon, was their preaching, you know, was their law. And that to me is me. That's who I am. That's who I turned out to be. And I like myself. But I also like the situation that now my wife and I have found ourselves in here in Laguna Woods. It's a great, great atmosphere.